With HBO's series The Gilded Age, revisiting a time of power, ambition, enterprise, and social climbing in 1882 New York City, many have revisited the books, gossip, buildings, businesses, industry, and families of the era. While there are certainly many fictionalized characters in the series, created by Julian Fellows of Downton Abbey fame, they do mention Mamie Fish, Caroline and Carrie Astor, the Livingstons, the Roosevelts, and the Vanderbilts. So let's explore the most influential names of the time, but first, some historical context. The Gilded Age of America at the end of the 19th century was a time of immense wealth and opulence. However, this era was also a study in contrasts, as waves of immigrants arrived in New York City with little to nothing in their pockets. Many crowded into tenements downtown, while just uptown, some of the richest men and women in America built mansions that resembled European palaces. One of the greatest success stories of the time was epitomized by families like the Vanderbilts. Immigrants from humble beginnings, the Vanderbilt family rose to become one of the wealthiest and most influential dynasties in American history. Led by patriarch Cornelius Vanderbilt, who amassed his fortune through shrewd investments in railroads and shipping, the family's wealth grew exponentially over generations. With their vast riches, they built grand mansions and wielded significant influence over New York high society. Central to the Vanderbilt saga were the prominent women of the family, such as Mamie Fish, Caroline, and Carrie. These women played pivotal roles in shaping the family's legacy and influencing the social landscape of their time. Mamie Fish, known for her lavish parties and social gatherings, helped solidify the Vanderbilt name within the elite circles of New York society. Meanwhile, Caroline and Carrie Vanderbilt became symbols of elegance and sophistication, embodying the refined tastes and societal expectations of the Gilded Age. Through their contributions to philanthropy, the Vanderbilt women left a lasting impact on both the family's reputation and the broader social fabric of their era, cementing their place in the annals of American history. The meticulous attention to detail in recreating the Gilded Age atmosphere ensures an immersive viewing experience, transporting audiences back to a time of grandeur and extravagance. The Gilded Age left an indelible mark on New York City's landscape, with iconic landmarks still standing as testaments to its opulence and grandeur. Among these is the Metropolitan Museum of Art, which boasts an impressive collection of art and artifacts from the era, offering a glimpse into the lavish lifestyles of the period's elite. Another prominent landmark is the Dakota, a historic apartment building that once housed the city's wealthiest residents and remains a symbol of architectural magnificence. Additionally, the Frick Collection, housed in the former mansion of industrialist Henry Clay Frick, showcases exquisite art and furnishings from the Gilded Age, providing a window into the luxurious tastes of the era's elite. These landmarks serve as tangible reminders of a bygone era of excess and extravagance, inviting visitors to immerse themselves in the allure of the Gilded Age. Several tycoons emerged through capitalizing on industry expansion, shipping, railways, coal, etc., of which both real and fictionalized characters are explored through the series, and demonstrated the older established families versus newly rich families navigating a rapidly evolving society at the time. Some of the biggest real social players included in the series are Carolyn Schermerhorn Astor, a prominent figure in Gilded Age New York society, wielded immense influence through her exclusive social circles. Born in 1830, Astor became known as the Mrs. Astor of her time, establishing herself as the arbiter of social standing and etiquette. Her legendary gatherings at her Fifth Avenue mansion, known as the Mrs. Astor's 400, set the standard for high society gatherings, dictating who was considered worthy of inclusion in New York's elite circles. Astor's meticulous control over guest lists and social events cemented her reputation as the queen of New York society during the Gilded Age, leaving a lasting legacy as a pioneer of American socialite culture. Her husband, William Backhouse Astor Jr., was an American businessman, racehorse owner, breeder, and yachtsman who was a member of the prominent Astor family. His elder brother, financier and philanthropist John Jacob Astor III, became head of the British line of Astors in the United Kingdom. Their family fortune stemmed from John Jacob Astor, born July 17, 1763, who was a German-born American businessman, merchant, real estate mogul, and investor who made his fortune mainly in a fur trade monopoly and by investing in real estate in or around New York City. Alva Belmont, assumed to be the inspiration behind the show's Russell family, was born in Alabama in 1853 and was known as Alva Vanderbilt from 1875 to 1896, when she was married to William Kissam Vanderbilt, and later Oliver Belmont from 1896 to 1908, was an American multi-millionaire socialite and women's suffrage activist. Her first husband was the grandson of tycoon Cornelius Vanderbilt, who made his great fortune operating steamships in the 1850s and 1860s, and went on to buy railroads, first acquiring the New York and Harlem Railroad in 1863. She played a crucial role in advocating for women's rights, using her wealth and influence to push for political change. Belmont's involvement in the suffrage movement intensified after divorcing her first husband, William K. Vanderbilt, allowing her to focus on activism. She founded the Political Equality League in 1909 and played a key role in organizing the suffrage hike of 1912, which brought national attention to the cause. Additionally, Belmont's financial support was instrumental in the passage of the 19th Amendment in 1920, granting women the right to vote. Rather famously, her daughter Consuelo Vanderbilt was married off to the 9th Duke of Marlborough, which has become a well-known example of one of the advantageous but loveless marriages common during the Gilded Age. The Duke obtained a large dowry by the marriage and reportedly told her just after the marriage that he married her in order to save Blenheim Palace, his ancestral home. Although the teenage Consuelo was opposed to the marriage arranged by her mother, she became a popular and influential duchess. For much of their 25-year marriage, the Marlboroughs lived separately. After an official separation in 1906, the couple was divorced in 1921, followed by an annulment. Her first marriage produced two sons, John Spencer Churchill, the 10th Duke, and Lord Ivor Spencer Churchill. She went on to marry the wealthy French aviator Jacques Balsan and continued her charitable endeavors. Marion Graves Anton Fish, nicknamed Mamie and born 1853 in Castleton, New York, was a prominent American socialite. Known for her lavish parties and influential social circle, she married Stuyvesant Fish, the director of the National Park Bank of New York City and president of the Illinois Central Railroad, and maintained stately homes in New York City and Newport, Rhode Island. She played a significant role in shaping New York's high society during the Gilded Age, hosting extravagant events that attracted elite guests. Marion's legacy endures through her contributions to the cultural and social landscape of her era, solidifying her status as a prominent figure in American history. Arabella Duval Huntington, born 1950 in Virginia, was an American philanthropist and once known as the richest woman in the country as a result of inheritances she received upon the deaths of her husbands. She was the force behind the art collection that is housed at the Huntington Library in California. She was the second wife of Collis P. Huntington, an American railway tycoon and industrialist. After his death, she married his nephew, Henry E. Huntington, also a railway magnate and founder of the Huntington Library, Art Museum, and Botanical Gardens in San Marino, California. Her philanthropic endeavors also included supporting various cultural and educational institutions, with Arabella's legacy as a patron of the arts and philanthropist continuing to be celebrated. If you are interested in learning more about the culture and society of the era in New York, aside from watching The Gilded Age or listening to its accompanying podcast, I suggest reading To Marry an English Lord, which explores the marriage matches between newly wealthy young American ladies with broke British men with titles, just like the character of Cora Crawley on the hit series Downtown Abbey, or the Edith Wharton books, The Buccaneers, House of Mirth, and The Age of Innocence, which have all been turned into films, and the former into a new TV show. Of course, there is also The Gilded Age, A Tale of Today by Mark Twain and Charles Dudley Warner, first published in 1873, that satirized greed and political corruption in post-Civil War America, of which you can see the immense wealth gap in the movie Gangs of New York, set in 1863. I also recommend the tremendous PBS 7-part documentary on New York City, which I personally rewatch every year. Books on some of the individuals who built dynasties include Tycoon, The Epic Life of Cornelius Vanderbilt, Teton, The Life of John D. Rockefeller, The House of Morgan, Andrew Carnegie, and both Vanderbilt and Astor, written by journalist Anderson Cooper, who is himself a Vanderbilt on his late mother Gloria's side.